brisket. Don't talk like that. We're live on YouTube. No videos yet, guys, but we're going to go live. Doing our first boil of the year. Probably 150 gallons, maybe. Stood on a lot of it pretty hard with the RO. Got maybe 50, 60 gallons out of it, out of the first batch. That's what we're running right now. The RO is running over in the corner right now, pulling some more water out of the newer stuff. So, just got the fire ripping. Trying to get as much water out as we can tonight. Don't think that we will be finishing any tonight, but just trying to get as much water out as we can and get to the rest of it here tomorrow. Somebody's watching. Somebody's watching you live. Somebody was on there. It tells you, you can see, that's the people watching. Okay. So, they just looked and left. Kind of see. Definitely starting to get some little bit of color down here towards the end, towards the draw off. Got the boil rate going pretty fast. We've been able to feed real steady so far. Keeping the warming pan full. Looks like still sitting pretty close to 212, maybe creeping up to 213. So that means the sugar content is climbing. Boiling temperature goes up. What am I looking at here? This is our arch, our fire box that we burn wood to boil down our maple sap to make maple syrup. That is a big vent hood. We are venting the steam outside here. And after we boil, we end up with maple syrup. So this is fresh sap goes into the top here. That is the lowest sugar content. It pre-warms. We don't want to add ice cold stuff down here, but you can see that it is much cooler here at this end, temperature-wise, much cooler, because we're not boiling anywhere near at the rate that we are on the far side. This is a fluted pan, so it flows from, sorry about that, this chamber flows this direction. There's a small cutout here. It flows back up this way. There's a small cutout here at this end, and it flows that direction. So through some type of science, this sugar content liquid forces the sugar this direction through the pan. So we're a much higher sugar content there on the far side, closer to real syrup than we are on this side. Hopefully that was a decent explanation. Wow, 11 people on the live. I don't think I've ever had that many people on a live before. Like real life Stardew Valley. I do not get that reference. Sounds good. We are in Southwest Ohio. About 30 minutes, 40 minutes north of Cincinnati. Somebody right now? Yeah. Just people interacting and asking questions. The name of the farm is the name of our channel, Chanyata Farm. Yeah. Oh. I'm the foreman. Fireman. Don't let the fire go out. Who else is on here? It makes it a lot easier when you interact. He said hello to the nice grandpa. That's my dad. Here, I guess I'll show you guys this. This is kind of cool if you aren't super familiar with the maple syrup stuff. So this is a reverse osmosis setup. So this is a water filtration method where normally you would use something like this. Basically, it pulls out all the impurities and leaves behind distilled water. So in this bucket here, coming out of this hose, this is basically pure H2O. We've removed all minerals and everything from it. So this is distilled water coming out of this end. In the syrup application, so on this side, we have concentrated our sugar. So for all of this water that we've pulled out, that's water that we don't have to boil off over on the boiler. So we can take about 2/3 of the water out of it before we even get to the boiler. So that's less time and much less fuel we end up having to burn to get to the end product. Hello, Amy. We got her up and running. Just a one-man operation. Brisket, come say hi. Here's our sugar shop mascot. This is Brisket, the golden doodle. Say hi to everybody. This was a free one that we rescued from going into a dumpster. I work for a local school district, and they built new school buildings, and they consolidated a bunch of schools into one really big one, and so they held a big auction to get rid of all of the old stuff that wasn't going to go into the new buildings, and that didn't sell, so it was just going to get demolished with the building. So I had my dad help me load it up, and we just brought it back here and put it in the sugar shop. So now it lives there. Can you play it? I mean, it works. I don't know if it's in good condition, but it's pretty out of tune. But since it's basically outside, being in here, it's not really climate control. It definitely is out of tune. I've been having a hard time getting videos out. I don't know if I mentioned it on here before yet, but Taylor and I we had a baby. She's 3 months old now, little Georgia. We had a baby girl, so that's been taking up the bulk of our time here. So it sort of was a big rush to get tapped last weekend, and just squeezing in our first boil here on whatever today even is, on this Wednesday evening. We're just going to try to hit it hard for a couple of weeks, produce as much as we can. Looking at the long-range forecast, looks like it's going to freeze up here again after tomorrow. It's going to get decently warm tomorrow, so might get some good run. But then we're going to look like we're going to freeze up pretty good and not get too much above freezing for the next 6 or 7 days. So that'll be a little bit of a break. And then hopefully maybe get another good run after that. How has the weather been where you are? We had a couple real nice days. So on Saturday we tapped. It was pretty cold on Saturday. To start the day, it got warm. We had real good flow. Sunday we had another good weather swing day. Monday was just really warm. Yesterday was really warm again. Yesterday was probably the warmest day out of all of them. We almost got to 60 here. And then today, I don't think we saw 35. So it's been pretty cold today. So it's actually nice to have the fire going back here. Oh yeah, that's not too far from us at all, maybe an hour. We're like 30 minutes straight north of Cincinnati. Who else is on here? Let's see. How do I? Oh man, I have two lives going at the same time. Living in the future. All right, we're live on YouTube and Facebook now. I've never done a Facebook Live, so I don't really know what I'm looking at. Hopefully some people come say hi. For those of you just joining us on Facebook, we're boiling maple syrup tonight. Well, we're boiling sap to make maple syrup. Definitely starting to get a sweet smell in the air. With this pump, I am adding more raw sap to the warming pan on the backside of the arch. What's up, Coach? Welcome to the sugar party. There's some people coming in. We're back working in the sugar shop, making maple syrup. She just left a little bit ago. So I'm thinking probably close to 7. It's 5:30 now. So if you weren't here at the beginning, we tapped our trees on Saturday. Today is Wednesday. We did our 75 tap Maple Grove. If you follow the YouTube channel, we did the whole series of videos last year where we put in the lateral lines. So we ran sap tubing from all of the individual trees. We ran from tree to tree to tree and encapsulated. We can now encapsulate all of that production into those lines. It gravity feeds down a big hill to an IBC tote, so one of those large water cubes that sits at the bottom of the hill. So in the past, before then, 75 taps, that's across about 50 trees. That would have meant 50 individual buckets that we would have gone from tree to tree to tree to empty all of those individual buckets. So now all of that, through gravity and a series of tubings, works its way down to that one collection vessel. So we're able to just go to that one spot and bring all of that up here to the sugar shop, where we then run it through our reverse osmosis to pull out water and concentrate sugar, and then it makes its way over to the arch where it boils, and we take it all the way to our finished syrup. We go from about 2% sugar coming off the tree to the 66% sugar that real maple syrup is. And that's sugaring the Cliff Notes version. Yeah, new nurse Aaron would be excited. You'll have to tell Kyle. I'm sure he'll be excited too. Say hello to the internet. Say hello to the internet. Our Sugar Shop mascot, Mr. Brisket. That's you. I hope that doesn't mean you two are still at work. See if I can do this with both of these at once. There's a view of the boil. I have a phone in each hand right now, so I'm going to talk you through it. Starting on the left side, back there, I don't know if you can see that valve. That's basically raw sap getting added to the tray. It works its way, did I say left? On the right side. It works its way down that right channel in the pan. Here closest to me, there's a little cutout in that dividing wall. So it works its way from this pan, this flute of the pan, to this one. Then it runs that direction. It does the same thing. It works its way from this portion of the tray to this portion of the tray. And then it flows back down this direction to our draw-off valve here at the end. So we're not very close yet to being able to do a draw-off, but I don't know if you can see, but it is darker here on the left than it is on the right, and that's because the sugars are concentrating. Flip that one around. Flip that one around. So I have my dad over here helping me this evening. Our goal is we want to get as much of the sap as possible onto the boiler. We want it to see a boil. As with most things, there are naturally occurring bacteria inside of the sap. And while the sap is kept at cold temperatures and while it is fresh, there is no danger, but the sap can spoil just like a lot of other fluids can because there is sugar in it. So if we let it sit for too long, it will spoil. But by getting it onto the boiler, we can extend its shelf life just a little bit because it will kill all of that bacteria that's inside of it. So with no intent of getting to the finish line tonight, we're going to try to get as much of it as we can on this evening, and then hopefully tomorrow we can sync our schedules up again and we can start doing some finishing some filtering, and some bottling. Hopefully that makes sense. Works for me. You just screw right through it. Yeah. I don't have any back here with me to show you. They're all down at the house. They just got delivered. But for those of you that have been customers with us before, we are switching up. We are doing a different size bottle this year. So we're going to go a little bit smaller, and we're going to bring our price point down some. Currently, in the past, we've always offered a 12-ounce bottle, but we are going to go to an 8-ounce bottle. So, Aaron, I guess you're just going to have to buy 10 of them instead of 5 to get you through the year. Other thought behind going to the smaller bottle. I mentioned this a little bit ago. My wife and I, we just had a baby, little girl named Georgia. So wasn't sure also at the amount of time I was going to have to throw at this year. So by going to a smaller bottle, we thought if we don't end up having the time and availability to produce as much this year, we'd be able to at least stretch it by packaging in smaller bottles, because not that it's a crazy high demand, but we do have a pretty good demand for, people that want to get the syrup from us. So, especially if we want to keep those repeat customers happy, because they've been so supportive of us in the past. We just want to try to be able to keep them involved with what we're doing here at the farm. Another solid benefit, every time I have to open the vent hood, I get a great steam facial. So my skin just glows all of syrup season. Those of you that watch us on YouTube, that's also sort of why the videos have been real slow lately. There just hasn't been a lot of extra time. Pull the camera out when we've been working on things. And we also haven't done too many major projects around here recently. So yeah, keep an eye out. Probably do keep doing these lives. They're a lot easier than filming and editing. So if you want to keep up with what's going on back here in the Sugar Shack, watch out for the live videos. Until next time, y'all. Of course, I said goodbye.